I'm Uncle Bill.
And I'm Jenny.
Welcome to the Fear Review.
In this episode, we're going to be talking about Leprechaun in Space, which is exciting.
Lep in Space.
A bit, probably the strangest Leprechaun movie, I think.
Probably.
Because in Lep 1 through 3, we had a similar vibe of Lep sort of showing up because someone stole his gold in some random city in America. But now we see the Leprechaun once again trying to get married.
Trying to be betrothed.
This guy again is trying to get a wife. This time to an alien princess.
Yep,
Royalty.
he's all for the power now.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's not just out for gold.
Yeah.
He wants to be powerful, and her father is a king alien king of some sort.
And they both, Leprechaun and his princess, both can't stand him. Are ready to get married, kill this dad, and move on. But unfortunately for Lep, there's a space crew whose only order is to seek and destroy this alien, aka Lep, who has gone from being a mythical creature in Ireland to a space alien, interestingly.
Somehow he got up in space.
Somehow he's now in a galaxy far, far away. We won't worry about that. So his wedding's gonna be called off, and he's gonna have to now fight them.
The crew shows up. One of them goes after his gold, I believe, or jewel. I'm assuming it's his.
His like a array of like jewels that which are full on those jewels you get like if you're at like a theme park.
The Pirates of the Caribbean, like
fill this bag with jewels. Like
yeah.
It's just full on that.
Yeah.
And then he stumbles upon this table because Lep. We see a recurring theme of Lep protecting his girl.
True, yes.
I mean, he might be a horrible husband, but he's not going to let other people treat his women badly. And so he takes her and he's like, we're going to go hide. And he stumbles upon these gifts he had laid out for his wife.
And the Leprechaun, in awesome fashion, whips out a lightsaber.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
And takes this man down.
Takes him out.
Like, first lightsaber in a Leprechaun movie. And probably only, I think.
I think it can be confirmed. The only never saw this coming.
Yeah, I was like, what?
I think my jaw hit the floor when I saw him walk out and whip out a lightsaber to take this man out. Like, we've never seen this kind of tomfoolery from the Lep before.
There's a couple of different firsts in this one, too. Like, there's,
many.
Yeah, we won't get too far ahead. But, yeah, so takes him down. The rest of the crew shows up. Mm-hmm. And they, I believe, throw
They throw a bomb down.
Yeah.
But the Lep throws himself over because he cannot have his wife die.
Yeah, can't have his wife die. Who's just a woman in a bikini, but she's an alien, right?
She's like Leia Jabba the Hutt kind of outfit.
Kind of thing. So throws himself on the grenade, blows up. So he's dead, and I think she gets hurt in the explosion.
She's hurt. I think her hand gets blown off or something like that.
Yeah, and one of the greatest ways to have something resurrected, and is another callback to Nightmare on Elm Street, in my opinion. One of the it's not Danny. I can't remember this character's name.
Because I don't know this guy's name.
Yeah, goes and pees on the leprechaun, like one of his body parts. I think it's his leg or something like that. And we see, we're assuming is the soul of the leprechaun or leprechaun magic, shoot up the pee stream and into this guy's penis.
Fully shoots into this guy's penis.
And just zip, and he's like,
He feels a zap a little bit, but quickly recovers.
Then they move on. They take the
finish
princess.
Their mission.
Yeah.
They take this princess and they're ready to go.
Back on the ship.
And here we meet two of my least favorite characters in any Leprechaun franchise ever. Harold and Mittenhand.
Mittenhand. So, which has to be some kind of inside joke. Because it's mitten and hand.
Yeah.
So why?
Soft foot.
Yeah, exactly. Why?
because they get back and there's kind of this like lab situation on this spaceship, and Harold, who's this weird kind of pervy guy, and then Mitten Hand, who is, I guess, overseeing the entire operation. Like, he tells them what they're there to do. He's in charge of it.
Some kind of scientist, like
something.
Evil scientist of sorts.
And all we see of him is his face on this screen, like horrible angle from down here. And it's very Dr. Evil-esque.
Yeah.
Like him staring at them and barking out orders at them about this princess that they brought back. And the crew are super excited. This crew that consists of, brilliant names in this movie. We have Styx, Books, Dolores and Danny.
And
then
Sergeant
Reeves, Sergeant Hooker.
Sergeant Hooker.
Who leads all of them. There's also another guy whose name I cannot... whoever peed on the leprechaun, I can't remember his name.
Yeah. Danny as well.
Piss Boy?
Piss Boy, that's what we've been calling him.
Is Piss Boy Danny? No, because Piss Boy dies. We've got Piss Boy, Danny, Books, Styx, and Sergeant Hooker. And
Dolores.
And then we're introduced, she shows up in the beginning of the movie, but we have newbie Dr. Reeves, who Mitten Hand brought onto the mission. And it's never really explained why.
No, and she's just like another scientist, but I believe she was down there with the leprechaun when they killed him, right?
I think so, yeah. I think they were there.
Yeah, she was just there to be science-y. Well,
I guess. Mitten Hand brought her on, like, who knows? Yeah. But she's there. And in this ship, this spaceship, there is somehow this, like, disco bar.
Yes.
With a dance floor.
Yes.
And, like, a bar set, and, like, all these little tables set up. Like, there's no bartender, no food being made, but an entire setup to, like, throw a party.
Yeah, there's 10 people, I think, on this ship, and it's this huge bar with, like you said, like a disco ball. Like, nobody's working there. Like,
no.
It's
not being run by anyone.
Yeah.
But there's this weird empty bar where I think this is where they meant to, or they try to introduce us to the dynamics of the crew.
Yeah.
And we have the most awkward bar banter ever.
Yeah, and especially, I think this is supposed to be like Reeves and Books, like, meet cute, right? Or like their moment to like, ooh, see the sexual tension and kind of set them up.
They're together.
It is the most awkward conversation I've ever seen between two potential lovers.
There's not much chemistry with them at this point. But, Books is kind of the tough guy of this crew, who is kind of like a Stallone variant. Like,
yes.
Just looks a little Stallone-y.
Cody Stallone.
Yeah, he's like a long-lost cousin. And he just he kind of, like, I think insults Reeves. But I think Reeves is kind of being sensitive. There's just this weird, like, if they wanted us to see that conversation root for them, that's not what happened for me.
No, it's like, I think they were trying to show that they're these two different people, but like opposites attract, and like there's this tension, but that did not happen at all.
No. And so then we get Styx, who is played by Miguel Nunez Jr.
Yep.
Who I would literally commit, like, sacrifices for. I love Miguel Nunez Jr. Love him. And we've met him. He's, like, the nicest guy in the world.
Yep.
And he's the best actor in this movie.
Yep.
Aside from Leprechaun. And we have this moment, he kind of, like, is comforting Books. And we see Dolores and Piss Boy go off to kind of have this celebratory, like, our mission ends tonight. Like, let's go have a little moment.
Let's go bang.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, let's go
That's
bang.
what they were going to go do.
Bang.
We're all adults here. Goes to go do that, and he starts to have a little bit of a pain in his wee-wee.
There's some discomfort in the groin area.
Because there's a leprechaun in there.
Because Warwick Davis is in his penis.
In his penis. He falls down, and we have a penis burster moment.
Penis burster.
The lep bursts out of this poor man's penis.
Bursts out. and obviously he dies. I mean, I don't know if anybody's ever had a leprechaun burst out of their penis, but it kills you. It's a lethal attack.
It is lethal. I mean,
it's lethal.
One would assume, but you know.
Yeah.
Oh, and I didn't. So I kind of like talked about it, like him peeing on the leg. I feel like was a callback to, and I keep talking about Nightmare on Elm Street callbacks.
Because there's been one in almost every movie, I think.
Yeah, and so is to me like the dog peeing in 3. In 4. To the dog just pees fire in a dream and wakes Freddy up.
Yeah.
But like to me, it's got to be. It has to be a callback.
100%. I think the fact that there's already been several intentional, like clearly intentional. We have like little left hand in part 1 through the phone. I think we just talked about one in part 3.
Yeah, I can't remember what that one was.
There's been several references to Nightmare, so it has to be.
Yeah.
And I love it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think of I know that that's why this movie always sticks out to me, because of every way that the leprechaun gets sort of summoned or brought back in a movie. Never is it through somebody's penis. Full on, like, and I feel bad for the guy because he's like getting kind of hot and heavy with Dolores, and there's these weird like, I always go back to the scene in Constantine where you can see like the hands through the stomach.
Yep.
Where his like, there's these weird movements like in his groin area where you can see like protruding, and it's awful. Then full.
Burst.
Gives birth almost.
Which we talked about because there's going to be a couple other moments too that I said was a callback to Aliens.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't even think about this part being
like
another
a chest burster.
And I even call it a penis burster, but I wasn't even connecting that was probably intentional. Like if they're doing these other kind of like tributes to Alien, that's another one. A very funny like
a very fun one.
Tribute. But he Leprechaun bursts out of his penis.
Full on pops out. And obviously, as one would be, Dolores is mortified. Dolores is terrified. He goes tell the crew, they find out that there's like, the alien that we thought we blew up is actually on board because he peed on it, then it came out of his penis.
It's a whole thing.
Now the leprechaun is on board. So they go looking for him, and then they all, I think it's Reeves, Books, and
Mooch, that was the other one.
Mooch ends up in this waste chamber that they have to like suit up for. Like it's this whole protective gear.
Yeah.
And I love it because they go in and we get to see the leprechaun. And it's just like in 3 when he was in like the doctor garb.
Yep.
He has his own like a full protective suit.
Like hazmat type kind of.
How he pulled his uniform out, like Magic is like fully in a matching fit. Like he's already in that chamber dressed to the nines.
Yes.
It's incredible. And then we see Mooch, and it speaks to the level of attention to detail in this movie, where there's this whole to-do about like them suiting up to get in here, because if this air gets on you, you're dead.
Yeah, it's like a waste chamber where it's like this bacteria that like eats waste and yeah.
Yeah. And Mooch turns around and his hood is completely unzipped, y'all.
Yeah, you can see through like the clear front, and in the back the zipper's just completely down.
Just completely unzipped. Like there was nobody caught that.
And before we move too much further away from that, was the other one too. It was like I think early on in like the lab scene, I think maybe when they first got the alien in there, like the bride, we'll call her. I think you said it was Harold. I thought it was Reeves. But has this big, like, supposed to be, like, I think electronic clipboard, space age clipboard, and, doing, very sciencey things, turns an angle, and you can see that it is just this metal clipboard that they have taped a tiny calculator to. And they're using it for them to, like, press on the buttons. This is just tiny little calculator.
It's T89. Like, it's the tiniest calculator you've ever seen taped to a clipboard. And like, this is not like, this was made in the 60s. They were trying to imagine. This was in 1997, I think.
Yep.
97, and we're like taping a tiny little calculator to a clipboard.
It's one of those, we keep talking about it, it's like one of those kind of behind the scenes moments for me where it's like you kind of get a peek behind the curtain, and it doesn't ruin it for me. Like it's just, it's like, it kind of, I don't even know how to say it. It just kind of like makes you like it even more for this series.
It's a gem. I think it adds to the overall. I mean, it's what you expect from a Leprechaun movie. I think at this point, you expect it to be kind of goofy, a little bit low budget. There's gonna be some ridiculous. I mean, it's like the paper banner taped to a sign for the Lucky Shamrock or something. Yeah. Like you just expect it, and the very first time that I watched this movie, I remember that being possibly one of the only things I remembered.
Yeah.
Was that little calculator on that clipboard that he carried around. Like this was souped up, like very, very advanced technology that they're using on a spaceship.
And it's a little Walmart calculator.
It's a calculator I had in 5th grade.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, like by the time I was 12, I had a calculator 3 times the size of it. Like it's everything.
Yeah.
And then, I don't want to forget this because it's one of my favorite lines in this movie. They go to this waste chamber, and Lep, finds Mooch. Because they all kind of separate, but Mooch and Books, I believe, can, talk to each other through, this earpiece. At least I think. I don't want to, be totally butchering what happens. And
they're able to communicate somehow. I can't remember, but yeah.
And Lep and Mooch have this, moment because he's like, I just want the princess. They tell me where the girl is. And Mooch is like, no, leave this moment. And we see Books and Reeves, dragging Mooch out. But we don't see him. And they're all other, the Lep is in here. There's this whole thing. And so the crew come over to, see how they are. And they're like, is everybody okay? We're okay, but there's something wrong with Mooch. And it turns in Mooch is nothing but a skeleton in his suit. His skin is melted off. He's goofy. It's just the whole, it's one of my favorite things because it's so stupid.
Yeah, there's something wrong with him. Yes, he's a skeleton.
Yeah, he's completely dead. But it's what are you talking about? Yeah, we're fine, but there's something wrong with Mooch. Oh, yeah, you mean the fact that his skin is gone?
His whole body is gone? Yeah.
You mean the fact that he's nothing but bones in a hazmat suit, Bucks?
Little more than something wrong.
I think you mean he's dead.
He's
sorry, huh?
Picked clean.
Yeah, I think it's stuff like that. I think this is one of my favorite lines in this movie, and there's no way the people that wrote that did not know that was going to be absolutely ridiculous.
They have to know that's they're just in there laughing, going, okay, this guy's a skeleton. One of them's gonna turn around. There's something wrong with him.
I think something might be wrong. I'm not sure, but I don't think Mooch feels very good right now.
We need to get him to the doctor.
Yeah, he's just melted. He's gone. It's my favorite thing.
So so Mooch is dead.
Mooch is now dead.
We think there's something wrong with him.
We're not sure what happened to Mooch, but we know that he's not okay.
Yeah, he's not okay.
Something's happened to Mooch, and they go tell Mittenhand.
That's what I was gonna say. So I think this is where they go tell Mittenhand that the Lep is back. They have to, and I think this is where he's saying that we're supposed to be done as of midnight tonight. This is all we're being paid for. So this is Sergeant Hooker. I always want to say Captain Hooker. Captain Hook.
It's a reference.
And Mittenhand's like, no, you're gonna stay here. It's mutiny if you don't, and plus we'll give you a bunch of money
because we have the reveal of because they go to tell them we've got to get the princess back and we're getting out of here. No, and this wall, I feel like a wall lifts up, disappears, and we see that Mittenhand, who's been communicating only via Zoom call, has been in the room the whole time, and he is nothing but. I mean, he's not unlike this little.
Yeah, that's true. Actually,
on our table, a chest,
one arm,
and a head, but the rest is all robot. He's just rolling around.
Yeah, it's like on a big metal box, and I think like you can see like his lungs and like heart and stuff,
like being powered by stuff. Like he's on top of a Roomba that's now zooming around the mapped out lab.
And you can see sometimes like certain angles where like the arm that's missing, you can see the actor just has his arm like, you know, just pulled back.
You can fully see it. I think that's why this movie's so good. But, you know, so he tells them that they can't leave. Like, you're going to be here. And don't worry, because I'm going to give you so much money if you stay.
Yeah.
So obviously, they do.
We don't want to be, you know, brought up on mutiny charges.
Yeah, like I'd like to get paid.
Yeah.
And there's this whole exchange with him and Harold, because now we see what's wrong with Mittenhand. He's not, you know, obviously he's been through a lot. He's like was in this experiment gone wrong, and they find that this princess has been healing herself, like her hand, like she's totally healed. And Mittenhand's like, don't tell anybody about this, Harold. I swear to God.
If you tell anyone.
Swear to God. But Harold starts collecting this princess's blood and like putting it in this giant jar, obviously to heal Mittenhand.
To bring himself back.
Will certainly be successful later.
Yes. Bring him back to his former glory.
It brings him to his final form for sure.
Yes. Yes.
But this whole time, something's still wrong with Mooch. They are still trying to figure out what's going on there.
They're using the whole like reflex thing on his knee. Like
it's happening. His temperature is kind of wonky.
So after they've checked on Mooch, this is where they want money. They don't want to be brought up on charges, and so Mittenhand has told them like, just go track down the leprechaun, kill him, and we're good, right? So they go to do that. And I think this is where kind of is another callback to Alien, where they have the little like tracker device where they're like walking up and down the hallways, whatever we want to call it. And it's got the little like boop, 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 tracking them. And I'm trying to remember is it Dolores first or no, Danny?
It's Danny. Because they decide to break up, so like into groups, and we have Reeves and Books together, obviously, the little lovebirds. Sergeant Hooker, and now I'm trying to call him Dr. Hooker. Sergeant Hooker and Dolores, and Styx and Danny. And Danny's over it. He's with Styx, and he's like nervous, doesn't want to be here. Why don't we just like leave this to them, like whatever. And so they split up, and we get the most glorious, very like Schitt's Creek style.
Yes.
If you watch Schitt's Creek and saw Moira do it, the Leps start singing Danny Boy.
Danny Boy, which I mean, how it took 4 movies in to do that.
Yeah.
The pipes.
And I'm trying to remember how he kills.
He
Danny.
Squashes him, right?
He like smashes him because he's like tries to like talk about partnering up or something.
Yeah.
Because I think Danny's like, I don't care about the girl. Like, we can be a team. And Leps, whatever. Bye.
Danny's gone.
Bye.
Danny Boy's gone.
Danny Boy is now dead. Which then brings us to Dolores and Sergeant Hooker, who are having this moment, and where Hooker like makes this weird, like they're talking about how like P-Boy died.
And like died loving or like doing what he loved or something.
And like Sergeant Hooker's like talks about how he loved to die like with a boner. It's so weird. It's such a weird, like I don't know why they kept that in.
Yeah.
It's a weird interaction to see.
Yeah, that was weird. There was also another weird line too. I can't remember, I feel like it was Booker that said it, where he was like, what did he say? He's like, well, like Shakespeare said, shit happens.
What are you? Yeah. Where did that even come from?
Yeah.
I didn't even think of that. Like, what? Like Sergeant Hooker has gold in this movie.
Yeah.
Like he comes through this stuff. And I know, like Lep sort of isolates Dolores, like gets them kind of separated, and we have. I think this is our first, or no, this is our second since the cave scene. Leprechaun and Dolores shootout.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So they had a little shootout at the cave scene. Well, I mean, I guess they just blew that up, but they all were ready. For
I can't remember. This is the first of the shootouts
this
or
might
not,
be the
but
first shootout. Then him and Dolores, because she shoots him into a bunch of tiny little pieces.
yeah,
And boy comes right back.
just
And we get this little piggy went to market. This little piggy.
she's hanging off of a ledge, and he's just
This little piggy went and down goes Dolores.
falls off the ledge, and then I think the rest of the crew, or is it just Reeves and I think they roll up, chase off. The leprechaun just like runs away. They find Dolores.
I think Lep has a moment with Books, like tries to threaten people and like handcuffs him, but Books and Reeves are fine.
Yeah, and one of the most this would be so awkward in real life. Like Dolores is laying there, and I think it's Books is like upset, isn't it? Isn't it Books?
Is it Reeves? Who is it?
One of them is upset about Dolores, like dying or being hurt, and I think Reeves is like, you just have to let her. She's gone. She's gone. You have to let her go. You have to let her go. And she immediately wakes up.
Immediately after that is back. Like,
and
it's
says
like,
something.
Books.
And it's like, ooh, awkward. I shouldn't have said anything.
Like, could you imagine that actually happening?
You have to let him go. And it's like, but I'm alive.
But I'm right here.
Yeah.
Like, there was just something wrong with me.
It was just-
Like,
My bones are still here.
I'm fine. Although I think she does ultimately die after that.
Yeah, she does. I mean, I think she
comes back and then
like says something. I
Yes.
can't remember. Yeah, like she,
Dolores always had something to say.
yeah.
God bless her.
God bless her. And then dies. And then I'm trying to.
Then we get, I believe this is, I love it because earlier in the movies, all Leprechaun would do is mimic voices. But ever since 2, we saw that Leprechaun could just full on, like, embody another person. Like,
That's
full
right.
way.
Yeah.
And so we get, like, Lep goes to Harold in the lab, where for some reason there's a doorbell.
Yeah.
Like, there's a full doorbell that goes, like,
Yeah.
ding dong in the lab. And Harold goes to look at the door, and, like, he's got a Ring camera that he, like, pulls up. And it's Reeves naked. And she's like, please let me in. Like, something happened.
Which he's had kind of a thing for.
He's been perving on the
Yeah.
on the bride. He's been perving on Reeves. Like, he's just that kind of guy. And so he lets him in. And it's just Lep messing around.
Messing him around.
Who then stabs him, I think, in the junk. I think.
Yes. Yeah, because I remember thinking,
Full
like,
stabs him.
he's just taking nuts out in this movie.
Yeah. Like,
I think
full nut stab.
No, and this is where I think Mittenhand. This is where he gets Mittenhand, right?
Yeah, but not before he gets Harold for real.
Oh yeah, and he
Because Mitten rolls up and stalls the Leprechaun, where Harold's able to stab him in the back because he's kind of recovered, and then
he like flat faces.
like turns Harold's face into a pizza.
Yeah, into a pizza, just flat and round, just.
Smash, like push him into it, and then like just as this perfect, like so ridiculous, defies all rules.
Which I think up until this point, all of the like deaths have been kind of realistic in a way, right? Like there's like I mean the pot of gold being in somebody's stomach, and it's like stretching the rules a little bit.
But even that, like, it was not somebody's face full on being smashed to where they were a flat pizza pie.
Yeah, and I think this is the only one that's that way. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of Spaceballs.
Yes.
To me,
yeah.
So ridiculous.
That's a great way to put it. Another callback. There we go.
Another callback. Well, Harold does kind of remind me of the guy from Spaceballs.
Oh, I can see that. Rick Moranis?
Yes.
Yeah.
Little Shop of Horrors guy, right?
Yep.
It's kind of, I feel like they have the same haircut or something.
I can see that. I hadn't thought about that, yeah.
But no, I think it's after that he gets Minhan. Because he's got that jar of this princess's blood. And she, like, tells him, ever the attentive husband, he's like, "What's going on, babe?" And she's like, "Girl, they've been draining my blood. Like, they've been collecting it.
They've been
creeping on me.
Putting me through it."
Seriously.
And so this is where Mittenhand gets ball gagged, right?
Oh, God. I forgot.
Which we've seen a little bit of lep fetish, like in the other films with the gold and stuff, but now we know this leprechaun has got a little bit of a like BDSM thing going on.
Seriously, we see what him and the princess are going to be up to.
Exactly.
And that's not all he does to Mittenhand. I think it's before that we have him make this sort of cocktail.
Oh, was it before?
What is it?
Yeah, he puts the bride blood in there in like a mixer with like a scorpion and a spider.
Scorpion and a spider. I knew it was a spider. I was forgetting the scorpion.
Yeah.
And then injects it.
Yeah. Blends it
into skull.
Into his head.
It's sick. Like,
yeah.
Disgusting. And we know the properties of this bride's blood, so we know what that's gonna happen, what that can do. And I think it's at that point, like, he injects the stuff into... because the bride tells him, she's like, "Honey, I'm so glad you got revenge for me. Like, you did not have to do that. I appreciate it. But the gold is in the cargo bay.
Yeah.
So we're going to have to go get that." He's like, "Sure thing." They walk off, like, they leave. And the crew comes back, and that's when they find him ball gagged.
That's okay.
So weird. It's so weird, because why?
I was thinking it was like when he injected him, but I think you're right. Like they come back and like, so they ball gagged him on the way out.
Yeah. They're like, "Oh, real quick."
Yeah, just open your mouth.
Like, I happen to have this on me right now. Like,
they find him, and I think, like, is he dead at the time? Like, he appears dead?
He's just so jacked. I think they're like, "Oh, poor thing." And then the leprechaun sets the ship to self-destruct.
Yep, he goes down to the...
"Oh, you poor thing. We got shit to handle, though."
Yeah, we got to go.
We got to go, babe. Sorry.
Yeah, so... Yeah, he set self-destruct. I think they're, like, in the bay still, right? And then they go down there.
They run into the leprechaun.
Another shootout.
This is the first movie that we have any leprechaun shootouts at all. And we have so many of them. There's like 4 or 5.
And, like, the Lep is like a space cowboy in this movie, basically.
It doesn't feel that way.
Like, he knows how to use a gun.
He's hiding behind, like, blocks. He's like...
Pew, pew. Pew, pew.
Full shootout city.
Yeah.
And then we see the princess... So many rules are introduced every movie, and this is the first piece of like intergalactic lore we get, where the princess flashes the team, and they're kind of gagged by it. They're like, "Okay, love that for us. Like, this is everything."
This is the boob moment in the movie.
We get our little piece of nudity as we are owed.
Little fan service.
Obviously. And she lets them know that, or maybe it's Reeves that tells them that in where she's from, if you see the boobs of a royal, like a member of the royal family, it's a death sentence.
A death sentence, which makes
such a
total sense.
So weird. Like, you're telling me that when trying to figure out how to write in a boob scene, that is all you could come up with?
Yeah.
And then they have, I can't remember exactly how that, like, it all goes down, but they have Sergeant Hooker and them, like, escort them through the ship to, like,
because he's got, like, a bomb on him now. Yeah.
Or either he can't find the gold, or they already have the gold, but they're looking for the shuttle, like, something's happening. And because he's, like, strapped Sergeant Hooker with dynamite, and he's, like, holding this detonator, like, threatening them. And suddenly, like, Lep and the princess leave, because they got what they needed out of them. And suddenly Sergeant Hooker is in drag. Like, dancing.
Yeah, doesn't he, like... Did he, like, do something to his... Because he has that metal thing on his head. Yeah,
something happened to poor Sergeant Hooker. And suddenly he's in drag at this bar, and they're trying... Like, I think it's Styx that tries to slap him to, like, snap him out of it. And then he whips out nunchucks.
That's right.
And just starts fighting them. Like, for no apparent reason. Like, and where did the nunchucks even come from?
I don't think we want to know.
No, like, where were they? He was wearing a dress.
And
like,
shouldn't his name be Styx then?
Seriously, the names are brilliant in and of themselves. And I think they all, and then the team has to kill Sergeant Hooker.
Yep.
Their own guy.
I think it was Miguel Nunez Jr. that kills it. Like, wait.
I think the trio have to come in and fight
Yeah.
them. They kind of kill him together. It's like a whole thing.
Yeah.
Poor things.
Yeah.
Which I will say about this movie, I don't know if it's just Miguel Nunez Jr. who makes an ensemble for me, and it's just him carrying it all the time. But I did like the crew. Like, I really enjoyed them. As much as Reeves and Books don't have great chemistry, I think the crew as a whole did.
Yeah.
And Books and Reeves get better throughout the movie, I think.
Yeah.
As they have more moments to try and show a little love connection. But the whole, like, Styx and Books kind of have this little rapport. They're gutted when Dolores dies. Like, they're kind of emotional when they have to kill Sergeant Hooker. Like, this one, I think after 2 and 3, we get a new round of actors that are a bit more experienced, a bit better at what they're doing, and just have a more believable cast.
Yeah, it could, because I was wanting to talk about that too, how good Miguel is in, but he's great in everything. I mean, everything he's in. I mean, like, he's in this, and he's in, like, to me, like, iconic ones too, like Friday the 13th. He's in Return of the Living Dead, which we know is probably your favorite zombie movie. And
my favorite movie ever. I love that movie.
But he's just great in everything. I know he did, I can never remember the name of it. I think he did one with, like, Eddie Murphy and stuff like that. But he's just always really good. And he was really good in this. It's just so natural, and just like, no matter how ridiculous the scenario is, like in the Friday the 13th when he's like taking a dump in the outhouse and gets killed, like, he just handles it like a pro. And
he's just great.
Yeah.
He's great. He's so believable. He's so charming. Like, I love him.
Which we don't know if we talked about, met at the Oklahoma
Horror Con.
Yeah, OKC Horror Convention, and he was just
The
nicest guy. And we've seen him at Frightmare, but we didn't get a chance to get his autograph. But he's always just walking around talking to people, just happy, just like charming, like you think he would be.
Yeah,
but
he's even more likable than he is in real life than he is in every movie he's in.
Yeah.
Because we even got to sit at sort of a panel. It was a Return of the Living Dead panel at OKC. And I love Linnea Quigley. I love Tommy Jarvis. I know his name is Matthew something or something like that.
I know. I can't. I'm having.
I know that I have his signature somewhere in my room. He's nice too, but he just steals. He just steals the attention because he's so energetic and lovely.
Yeah.
I just love.
I think that's what it is. He has such like a good energy.
Yeah.
Like, he's just happy, and like, it seems like positive and funny, and just like,
really,
but yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter where you're at or who is in that room. If Miguel Nunez Jr. walks in, that's who you're paying attention to.
Yeah.
He's just great.
Your dogs are barking from walking around all day and standing in line, and like all that. He comes in, it just brings you.
It's like, do you want us?
Brings you up. Yeah,
Two
same thing.
Angels.
Yeah.
If they're at a convention, they are just like these two balls of light that radiate over everything. They're just perfect. They can do no wrong for me. They
Yeah.
can do no wrong. Speaking of the good acting, Warwick, who is consistently great. We do see a bit of like they start to lose a little bit of Leprechaun essence.
Yes, yeah.
Because we have some like lone Leprechaun monologues throughout this movie where he talks about like, you know, married life and, well, I'm just gonna wed bed and bury her because I don't want to share my stuff, and he doesn't rhyme at all.
No, I think this is the first one where he doesn't rhyme at all.
Yeah, like the rhyming is just gone. Like, it just loses it completely. And there's some like goofy kills and stuff, but I don't know. It's a very different Leprechaun energy.
Maybe it's because it's the space leprechaun.
The alien variant of the Leprechaun is very different from the others.
Yeah, because there isn't any rhyming at all. Very different.
No.
And he's not even that worried about his gold either. I don't
No,
think
I don't
it's
think-
more about the
Yeah.
alien bride.
Because it's like they don't steal his gold in the way that they do in any other movie. They don't want to do anything with it. He just wants it, and
Yeah.
he doesn't want to share it with her. But he does want to be a royal, and he wants to be a king, and so it's like the first movie where he doesn't have a sole target who's stolen his gold. He's just like, let me the hell off this ship with my girl and my gold, and let me out.
Let me go. I'm gonna be the
I'm
king of
over it.
everything, and we're good.
So get out. Like, I'm trying to be the king of space, girl.
Yeah.
Get with it.
But what about those chili dogs?
What about those chili dogs? And has someone checked on Mooch? Because something is wrong with him. Something's wrong with Mooch. So now I think at this point, like they've killed Hooker. We've had this whole moment, and Lep and his girl are just kind of bickering through the cargo bay.
Which before this, like, there's been like these moments of like they actually have like good chemistry. Or like
They're
kind of rooting
great.
for him a little bit.
Like, they both want to kill her dad. She's just as evil as he is,
Yeah.
I think. They're both as greedy. And neither of them really like each other. But they're, like, I think the perfect match.
Yeah.
You could not find a better wife for him.
Yep.
Because this is not, she didn't have to sneeze 3 times. He's not taking anyone captive. This woman is down. Like, let's get married, kill my dad, be rich, and live happily ever after.
She's down to clown.
They're the best. But because they're two evil little peeves, they do bicker like any normal couple. Where we get, and it's one of my least favorite things. Is this the one that kind of gets you that we talked about in the last episode where she becomes like blemish, like all boily?
That's not the part that gets me, but it's similar.
Because he has this moment where they're fighting or something, and I can't remember what they're talking about, and he like points to this blemish on her face.
Yeah, and then it kind of makes her think that like her face is like
Whole face has become like covered in boils.
yeah,
Which isn't true. It's just a little vision, but he scares her with it.
just scaring her. So I think this is about the same time, and this is like going to the part that gets me is Mitten Spider.
Oh
So now-
my gosh.
Now he's wakes up and he is transformed into this spider, scorpion, nasty like thing.
Disgusting.
And what gets
Horrible.
me is parts of him have these big like egg-like
Yeah.
pussy looking things or something all over his body, and that like
They're
gets
gross.
they're gross. It reminds me of Gremlins. I can't remember which one.
Ooh.
Where it's like one of them gets wet and like they start like bubbling up, and I thought there was
Before
one where you
they-
could see like little gremlins inside the little
God.
thing.
I
or
don't
what,
remember that.
maybe it's part 2 or something. Maybe but yeah, like that
It's
just
sick.
reminds that is
Because
gross.
he's kind of got like spider legs, but then the back of him is like a scorpion tail.
Yeah.
And it's just swinging around.
Yeah, it's not even like a real scorpion tail. It's just like a big like
and it's,
thing.
He's huge and he's gross. Like, I feel like there's shit coming out of his head.
yeah, I think he's got like it looks kind of like feet or like antenna
Whoa,
like
it's
doing
so
that.
Gross. It's actually one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life, I think.
I remember thinking, I was like, I think they spent like half of their budget just on him.
That's why we got a tiny calculator.
Yeah, was they needed it for the props, practical effects.
Oh, it is incredible practical effects.
Because the CGI parts of the movie are,
Oh, we haven't even talked about
yeah. But this is 90 something, 97, so it's not like CGI was really being used well or we even really had the right technology. But I feel like this was still kind of bad for even back then.
I feel like it was
but
horrible.
yeah.
CGI, I think they could have taken a little toy spaceship, printed out a picture of stars, and filmed like a tiny, and it would have looked more real than this bizarre CGI that they had
Yeah.
going on.
Yeah.
It's so bad.
But for all the bad CGI, like Mitten Spider makes up for it. Like
Oh,
he's disgusting.
he is the most realistic, most horrifying thing in any Leprechaun movie.
Yes.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, hands down. Hands down.
Yeah, so after we see that, which is traumatizing. It's the worst thing ever. I think now the trio, we've got Nunez, Books, and Reeves, are having yet again another shootout with damn Leprechaun. Because actually, I think Styx leaves because he's like, okay, if we're going to keep this from self-destructing, like, I've got to go put shit into a computer.
We've got to split up.
And Reeves and Books are in there once again going at it with the Leprechaun and this princess. I mean, seriously. It is an old Western in this movie. Like, it's crazy.
So I think this is where then Reeves grabs the... I think she thinks it's going to be the shrink ray.
Yeah.
But I guess gets a flip. Goes awry. Switch gets flipped, and it enlarges the Leprechaun.
Leprechaun, once again, best CGI I've ever seen in my life. Most realistic thing you've ever seen. Becomes massive. And the first thing he does is one I love these movies. He immediately looks in his pants to check out what he's working with.
Yep.
And is thrilled by how much bigger he is now all around.
The size of his package.
I mean, it's incredible. Like,
yeah.
Again, like, I know I've said it 100 times, but it's just why these movies are so good. Because it's so stupid.
Yes.
He becomes massive, and the first thing he does is look down his pants. Like,
of course.
Of course he did.
Why wouldn't you? I
think that's, like, I love Warwick Davis, and that's one of the reasons why. Because Warwick Davis, I guess not at this point, but he's gone on to be in Harry Potter, and he'd already been in Star Wars. Like, he's not like a household name. Like, he's been in huge franchises.
Yeah.
And he was still there, dressed up like a leprechaun, checking out his package. Like, he does not take himself too seriously, and he's willing to do these things that are so hilarious and so stupid, and it just...
He commits, and that's
I love him.
Well, I've said it a gazillion times, and we're only four movies in, but that's why it works, is he just commits fully.
Any other person could not make the Leprechaun as entertaining and lovable as he does.
Yeah.
He's just great.
Yeah.
And so then we've got Massive Lep, and Reeves goes on the run because she's gonna go, because like Nunez needs like a password. Poor Styx is like stuck. He's been cocooned.
Oh,
by Mitten Hand, which is disgusting, by the way.
Because we've got this like webbing that's like skin.
Oh god.
It's like skin webbing or something. Yeah, that's just gross looking.
It's horrible.
So he's all webbed up.
He's all webbed up. He's like, guys, I need a password. I can't put this shit in. Like, I'm a little tied up. And
a little tied up right now.
I'm a little stuck at the moment. And Reeves goes, like, through the vents. During which, also, I mean, maybe this is a little Aliens callback. Because I feel like I remember seeing Sigourney Weaver in her underwear for... I mean, it probably wasn't that much. Just a lot of her film, I feel like I see Sigourney Weaver.
I think it was just the final scene. Like when she goes,
And so we get Reeves, like, on the run, and naturally she gets attacked by Mitten Hand, who eats her pants.
Yeah.
Like,
but pulls off her... And I didn't think about that being another callback to Alien,
Another Alien moment. She runs around in her underwear. Like, she's got a little top on, but no pants.
Which is how she is in Alien. She's got, like, a tank top kind of shirt on. And
pretty much exactly what Reeves has.
Yeah.
And she goes and meets up with Nunez. And I can't remember how she takes out Minhand because he tries to eat her, and it's the worst.
Yeah.
I keep saying that. I can't come up with anything else to say. It's the worst thing ever. Seeing Mitten Spider do anything is the worst possible thing you could ever show me in my life. It's so gross. Because it's like you said, there's like pus going on. There's goo everywhere.
Yeah.
There's this, and he's like distraught. And, like you can tell he's like going through it. And it's so gross. It's just God.
So she frees Styx and kills Mitten Spider.
Shoots Mitten Spider.
Yeah.
And Books, who gloriously grabs the princess. He's like, we gotta go. And he's dodging. as Lep's just kind of going around stomping these wooden blocks, and drags her out and opens the door, which is another Alien moment. Again, like another very, very clear reference to Alien, where like an entire wall of this room opens up, I feel like.
Yes, because they're like, I think that's like the ship bay, because all the ships are in there, so that's got to open up for them to fly out.
This is true. And poor Lep gets shot into space.
Sucked right out.
They're gone. Into space. Bye.
It blows up, doesn't he, when he gets out?
Yeah, he gets out and explodes.
That's right.
Which is lovely. Meanwhile, we had seen, because I love it, because it's so Lep of him. They had tried to get in like the ships earlier, but there was this like perfect green force field around it, like this little bubble that Lep had made, like just in case.
But they're like, nope.
Which, is obviously gone once he's sucked into space and explodes. But it doesn't matter because they get in there and they all just start guessing at this password. Like Books and Reeves are now all with sticks in the room. And it takes them like a while, like they can't figure it out. And they make a point to like, well, what would it be? Like, showcase with it. And the password's wizard.
Yeah, I remember them saying why, and I can't remember what it was.
Well, like, what would he be?
Did he always like call himself that or something? I can't remember. But.
I just remember like being so let down when it was wizard. Like, I don't know what I thought it was gonna be. Like, I don't know, maybe boobs or something. Like, silly, at least funny. But when it's this whole thing, like, oh, I got it, wizard.
Yeah.
Really?
Wizard.
Really?
Which can be another callback to Nightmare on Elm Street 3 with the wizard.
No. Love him.
Yeah.
Met him at Texas Burger Weekend. And he's the nicest guy in the world.
Yep.
Seriously. I remember being in... we had already met him. And even in the picture, he does, like, little fingers. And such dad energy. He's the sweetest guy ever. And then I was in line to meet Puppet Guy from Nightmare 3. And I kind of looked over and we made eye contact and he goes, oh, and I was like, oh, did his little arms just like in Nightmare 3. And I thought, you're the best thing in the world. I would kill innocent human beings for you, sir. I don't know if you know this, but I would.
That's your go-to.
It is. Because I can't think of anything more serious that I would do for them.
So...
But that's not how it ends.
Lep blows up.
Mm-hmm.
Then...
But a piece of him still lets them have it.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Remember?
See his hand float by and just flipping him the bird, right?
A giant left hand in space flipping him the bird.
That's right.
It's great.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. So we've had Lep in space, Jason in space, and Hellraiser in space. I think those are the only ones that have had like a space
episode.
Right?
We don't get Michael in space.
No.
We don't get Chucky in space. We don't get Freddy in space.
Those are the main like big ones, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, this is one of 3 that have braved this new territory. Yeah. And I think they did it well.
Because I'm notorious for not liking space movies. I say that, but I keep saying that, but then as soon as I say it, I can think of 800 space horror movies that I do like. But I feel like if you give me like an array of 10 of them, I'm gonna dislike 7.
Yeah, maybe it's like
the majority. I don't tend to love.
You don't like sci-fi, but maybe when horror is involved, you like it because you like Event Horizon.
I love Event Horizon. I really enjoy Sputnik, which isn't in space, but it is spacey.
Alien.
I enjoy Alien, but it is not my favorite.
Yeah, but you don't hate it.
I don't hate it, but like I won't watch it again. I'll watch it if people wanted to, but it's not a movie of oh, I love this one. I'll watch it again.
It's not a go-to. Yeah.
Because aliens don't do it for me. Like the actual xenomorph. That's what it's called, right?
Yeah.
Does not get me going. Like it's cool, but I'm not jonesing about it.
Yeah.
Really. like I am the giant rat in Graveyard Shifts. Like,
Yeah.
it just doesn't. I'm like, yeah, okay.
But I think that's the only one you've seen so far. And I keep saying we need to, because Aliens is like arguably to some people's better.
But I think that's going to be mainly an action space movie, and I think that's going to make it even worse for me.
Yeah,
because then it's not even a horror space movie. It's just going to be straight up space action moment.
Yeah, maybe.
Because I don't really love Jason X, and I think the Hellraiser movie in space is not one of my favorites either.
See, I was thinking that was one.
Is that the one with the Cinedogs, like the two dogs, like Chatterpups?
Chatterpup.
Is that in space?
I think maybe it is, because that's where we've got Adam Scott being the.
Oh yeah,
the creator
I forgot about that actually.
His name's like Lapierre or something. I can't remember what his name is, but he creates the lament configuration. And
you're right. I totally forgot about that.
Yeah, I don't know. We're completely derailing from the Leprechaun here.
Sorry, we've totally gone somewhere else.
Yeah,
but I think the fact that this is a space movie, I should hate it, and I actually think this ranks pretty high.
Yeah.
Of like all the Leprechaun movies, I really enjoy this one.
And they don't like even really have to set it up. You know what I mean? Like, like Hellraiser, they kind of had to explain how they got there. Like even Jason X, like how do we get Jason in space? Like this one, just leprechauns in space.
He's just in space. They immediately are like, he's up here trying to marry an alien princess, and we all are going along with it.
Yeah, just boom, we're in.
No problem. Okay, sure, check. Yep. Moving on.
Son of a bitch, where are we going?
Come on now. And what's gonna happen? Like, it's completely unlike the first three. Because I think the first three all follow a pretty typical formula, and when we get to Lep in the Hood, it pretty much follows that formula again of like, oh, someone stolen his gold or something's up. So it kind of does its own thing, and it's super fun. Yeah. It's a really, really fun Leprechaun movie.
Yeah, I think it definitely ranks up there towards the top for me.
It's really, really funny.
For the Leprechauns.
I mean, from left middle finger, giant penis, check out. Penis burster. How many times am I going to say penis in a ranking moment? And I think there's something wrong with Mooch. Like, there's just so much in this movie that I really, really think are so hilarious and well written, because I feel like that was the intent in writing this movie, was to make it super funny. Yeah.
So would you say you give it 4 out of 5 penises, or?
I would give it 6 out of 10 penises for sure. How many penises would you give it?
I would give it 7 out of 13.
Okay. Thanks. That's so helpful. Great. I think we've averaged out to the same amount of penises.
I think we did, yeah. I think we did, actually.
We give this fairly the same amount of
A little over half of the penises.
A little over half of the penis. Not quite full. I mean, I don't know what more there is to say about this movie. It's just great.
So I think that's pretty much it for this episode. So tune in next time. We're going to talk about Lep in the Hood, and then also Lep in the Hood Part 2 in another episode.
Thanks for watching, guys. We hope to see you next time.